Greetings, friends. Avraham Avinu says about the Philistines, there is no fear of God in this place. They will kill me because of my wife. In 1936, Reb Elchanan Wasserman Zatzal spoke in Berlin. He noted that the Philistines had an advanced culture, technology, art, and high standard of living. Only one characteristic was lacking, and that is fear of God. That is why Avraham Avinu did not trust them. Listeners were offended. One rabbi later wrote that he had been deeply hurt when the rabbi from Eastern Europe implied that in this land of cultural enlightenment, meaning modern Germany, at that time, people will kill indiscriminately. But the writer later admitted the eye of the aged Gaon and Tzaddik saw further into the future than our eyes. What he said came true. We can see where the world is going only when we look through the lens of Torah. Now that we are approaching Shabbos Nachamu, I believe it is time to speak in realistic terms about the possibility of Mashiach ben David making his appearance soon. If we examine events at the end of Galus Mitzrayim, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu appeared before the Geula in order to lead Am Yisrael out of the collapsing Egyptian culture and into the world of Torah. I would think that the same sequence would occur now as the surrounding culture collapses and we approach the Geula. We need a trustworthy guide into the next phase of history. And Hashem has promised that he will not forsake those who fear him and give thought to his name. That's a quote from the prophet Malachi Hanavi. We desire to believe that everything is normal. Certainly there are problems. Corona has not gone away. War continues in Ukraine. Inflation, crime, climate change, wildfires. But we'll somehow find a way to resolve everything, just as we always have. Life will go on. I'm not so sure. Recently, the heads of Russia, Iran, and Turkey convened the summit. Can you imagine what they discussed? With terrible weapons in the hands of people who do not fear God, not to mention China and North Korea, how could anyone be safe in the world? And this week, rockets flew from Gaza once again. But it's not just war. When society has eroded to the point that immorality becomes legally embedded in the culture, then the entire structure begins to shake and tremble. What happens when the law itself becomes lawless? Quote, God stands in the divine assembly. In the midst of judges, he shall judge. For how long will you judge lawlessly and favor the presence of the wicked? They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk in darkness. All foundations of the earth collapse. Those are heavy words. All foundations of the earth collapse. In the 6th year there will be sounds, and in the 7th year war, and then in the aftermath of the 7th year, the son of David will come. Mashiach ben David, that's a quote from Masechah Sanhedrin. The Gemara seems to equate the 7 years of Shemitah with the years before the coming of Mashiach. And we're now in the 7th year. What does it mean in the 6th year there will be sounds? Listen. Quote, Like rivers, they raise their voices. Like rivers, they shall raise their destructiveness. Who is this they who raise their voices? They refers to powerful nations that swell with pride and work destruction. This is a quote from Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch Zatzal. Throughout history, we have instances of powers bent upon world conquest, depriving other peoples of their independence. And the final phase of history will end with the rise of one world-conquering power, which will swallow up all the other nations. But there's still one who will be mightier than even this conqueror nation. Hashem, who alone is mighty on high. The voices of destructiveness are becoming louder each day, but their end is predicted. Quote, Tehillim, when the wicked bloom like grass and all the doers of iniquity blossom, it is to destroy them until eternity. When evil becomes prevalent, it's a sign of redemption. The Gemara tells us the son of David will not come until the entire kingdom converts to heresy. Rabbah said, referring to Tzara As, what is the verse? All of it has turned white. It is pure. The Torah mandates that when the entire body is infected with Tzara As, the Kohen declares him pure. Nachamu, Nachamu, comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak to the heart of Yerushalayim and proclaim to her that her time of exile has been fulfilled. A voice calls in the wilderness, clear the way of Hashem, make a straight road in the plain, a highway for our God. The glory of Hashem shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see that the mouth of Hashem has spoken. Why is Nachamu repeated? It says Nachamu, Nachamu. It is possible to say we have seen Nachama before. We saw it, but our hopes were dashed. This time, Hashem will comfort us unto eternity with the coming of Mashiach ben David and the building of the Beis HaMikdash. May we see it soon in our days. Good Shabbos.